Both Iran and Hamas deny Tehran had any involvement in the attack from the Gaza Strip, although a Hamas commander in Gaza says the Israeli assault on Gaza likely will force its allies to join the fight, with reports of attacks now coming from both Lebanon and Syria. CBN national security correspondent Burke brings us a look at what regional players and what a potential multi-front war could mean.
While the IDF is focused on Hamas with a massive military campaign at its southern border, military leaders are also watching the north, all too aware that enemies surround them.
You've got obviously Hamas in the south, in the Gaza Strip, but you also have Hezbollah, the Iran-backed Shia terrorist group in Lebanon, and you have other terrorist proxies surrounding Israel. And this is no accident.
Nathan Sales, former ambassador at large and coordinator for counterterrorism, calls this all part of Iran's desire to wipe Israel off the map.
Iran is the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism, so it shouldn't come as any surprise that Iran is going to sponsor terrorism against Israel. Now, their main proxy for doing that over the years, over the decades, has been Hezbollah. What we haven't really seen before was a level of sophistication from Hamas that has allowed it to carry out these sorts of ambitious operations like we saw over the weekend. The fact that Hamas is now capable of doing that has Iran's fingerprints all over it.
Sales says while it's clear Israel's response to Hamas will be one of strength, there's a risk it could spur other terrorist groups to attack.
That is a true nightmare scenario where one after the other terrorist group starts piling on. I think terrorist organizations, no matter what their ideology, understand strength. And so it's really important for Israel to establish deterrence by showing if you come at us, it's not going to end well for you.
As for Iran, Sales predicts for now it will most likely continue using these proxies.
You know, the saying goes, they're willing to fight to the last Palestinian, or Iran is willing to fight to the very last Lebanese. It's a way of insulating themselves from the costs of warfare and also helps preserve a certain air of deniability. You know, it wasn't us, it was these other guys. Nobody should credit anything Iran says when they try to wash their hands of the bloodshed in Israel.
Ambassador Sales is calling on the Biden administration to do everything in its power to help Israel win. This includes financial pressure on Iran in order to cut off funding to the terrorists fighting this war. John?
Given Iran's suspected involvement, how is the Biden administration planning to change its policies towards Iran?
Well, what we've seen from the Biden administration over the last 2 years are a lot of concessions. They've wanted to get back into some sort of a nuclear deal. And in working towards that, experts say the price they've paid for diplomacy is too high. Tehran's oil revenue is now 5 times what it was during the Trump administration. And with so many resources at its disposal, they have plenty of money to fund an attack like what we saw against Israel. So as Ambassador Sales says, it's time to put the pressure back on. John?
All right, CBN national security correspondent Burke. Thank you so much, Caitlin.